whatever. You know me and my intros. Did you watch the first episode?
Yeah.
With that
Oh
fucking
my
45-minute
gosh.
intro? I literally was like, all right, guys, well, without further ado, let me keep talking for 45 minutes. And then you
2.5 minute intro saying the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll just roll in.
I don't think it was as obvious as you thought it was.
It was hilarious.
It was
I love watching it. But anyway, welcome, Josh. I'm not going to do much of an intro for you. I'll just, let everyone know that you own a business locally. I don't even want to tell them what it is because it's a business that I would shy away from in today's world. You know what I mean? Not knowing what I know now after talking to you. It's not something that I would jump into.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know how you got into it.
Yeah.
And then the other insight that's great to have you on about is we both started businesses, which you've done too, but you've sold a business, you've purchased a business, and you've moved states in the middle of all of that. And it was during COVID, right?
And starting another business.
And you're obviously
At two businesses right now.
right. Yeah, that I know you're like us. That's never going to end. You're just going to keep going with that. But you did move during COVID, wasn't it, or right after? Yeah.
In the middle of I bought the company in December 2020.
Okay. So and on top of all that, you're a vet, and you do a lot of things outside of business to support veterans and veteran-owned businesses, and it's really great. So. First, I want to know, you joined the Army, right? So you were an Army vet. So let's start back there. What made you join the Army? How old were you? Was it right out of high school?
Well, so kind of what I would say is to explain my journey when it had got me in the military, kind of reverse a little bit.
Okay.
So I actually originally was going to college, initially in my mind, to be elementary education because I love kids.
Okay, right.
And when I want to say like 14, 15, there was no, I take that back. It was 9th grade and 9/11 happened. And when that happened, obviously, I had like a different type of feeling than what most people had on that day.
Whereas I was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Shows
my age.
You're a little older than us.
But at that time, I kind of had a different feeling where I more so thought I wish I was maybe on that plane and I could have stopped all that stuff from happening, or wherever I could have helped. Maybe it was the police officers, firefighters,
right,
in New York, helping with all that. Whereas most of the people that I was in my school with basically were having conversations about how terrible it was, and I'm so glad I wasn't there. My family wasn't there.
Yeah.
So that was where it kind of started in my head, but obviously I was still not mature enough to fully understand what those feelings were.
Yep, gotcha.
And then fast forward, I went to college right out of high school. I was going to school for elementary education and had only been in for one semester. And
Common theme.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I did one semester and then hauled ass in the Marine Corps. So.
Yeah. So I was in for one semester, and there was a prominent school shooting that happened. I honestly, I should remember, and honestly, I should probably look it up at this point now because this is now my third podcast that somebody's asked me this question. And I don't know if it's Columbine or what it was, but it was something prominent. And again, I had a similar thought. Obviously at the time I was going to be an elementary education teacher. So now my thought process was, I wish I was one of those teachers.
Yep.
That I could have stopped more from dying.
Yep.
And did something. And then obviously I was a little more mature at that point, a little older, kind of understand my feelings a little better and where that's coming from. And also one of my buddies, his dad was a veteran, and I kind of talked to him about these feelings, and he kind of explained to me, basically helped me understand my feelings of where I was coming from. And it was more so from, I want to protect people, I want to help people.
Right.
And so that's where my mind's like, I want to be a police officer.
Okay.
At the time I was only 18, maybe 19. I was just about to turn 19, I think.
Yep.
But immediately, I couldn't be a police officer because you have to be 21 years old to be a police officer. But to join the military, you could be 18 years old.
17.
Well, actually 17.
Yeah.
So you could be 17 years old to join the military. So that was my next step in the process, and so I ended up joining the military.
Okay.
I went in as military police, so I could kind of go into the field that I plan on going into, and that's kind of how I joined the military.
Gotcha.
Why I ended up joining the military, to answer your question.
Yeah. No, that's great because I I mean, I think I've heard parts of that, but I never heard the exact reason, as to what got you there, because everybody's is different, right? Like mine was, I thought that it was going to be the way that I went to college. I was like, I can't afford this.
I mean,
and
that helped.
yeah, and they're gonna pay for me to go to college. And again, I was in elementary school. I was in kindergarten, or maybe it was first grade. I'm pretty sure it was kindergarten.
You're that much younger than me?
When 9/11. How old are you?
I'm about to turn 37.
Yeah, I'm 28.
Oh, okay.
So I'm about to turn 29 and 28 this year. Yeah. So he's 27 right now. So
Gotcha.
So yeah, I know, like when we watched that, obviously we're younger, and at the time we obviously don't even remember it, but when we watched it in high school, we're like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like I had the same feelings, even though it wasn't my thought, like, oh, I want to go serve for this, because
Yep.
everything was pretty much over by the time I joined, you know
Yep.
what I mean? But it was still, every time I would watch that stuff, I'm like, I had the same feelings, and I know you did.
I had since I was like 2.
Well, yeah.
I'm a little different.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years old, he knew he wanted to be a Marine.
Oh,
Right, and it was a Marine. It wasn't anything else. He knew he wanted to be a Marine.
okay.
But as I'm saying, I joined for college, but I did have those similar thoughts, where, oh, I wish I was there to help people, not oh, I'm glad I wasn't involved with that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's funny that, as veterans all have. I mean, there's a reason, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because obviously I joined for college, or at least I thought I had joined for college, but I would not have joined if I didn't have those feelings as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
So, but anyway, so you joined. How long did you do?
8 years.
8 years. Okay.
Technically, obviously, 2 of that is your IRR, which is your inactive ready reserve.
Oh, okay. So 6. Oh, so your MOS required 6 active?
And 2 inactive, yep.
Yeah, okay. So we were 4 and 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, and then it's my understanding, because we, as veterans, we joke around all the time with each other, but you're an actual veteran. You were deployed.
Combat veteran.
Yeah.
I guess sometimes that's how some people signify it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you can talk, if you're willing to talk a little bit about that. And, how many did you do? 2 or 1 or?
Just 1.
Just 1?
Yep. That was in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
I went over to Iraq.
Okay.
Obviously, some of that's some transition period where we actually got stuck in Germany for a little while, because when we were flying in, there's a big sandstorm in Kuwait where we have to fly in initially.
Yep.
And so we got stuck in a hangar for like 3 or 4 days because we couldn't even get a flight in.
Been there.
Yeah. So that was an interesting couple days, being all of our entire unit packed into a hangar.
Yep.
And everything, but
awesome.
But yeah, that was in 2008 and 2009. We were originally supposed to come home before Thanksgiving. We went over in January of 2008, and we were supposed to come home before Thanksgiving, and then got extended. And then we're supposed to be back before Christmas, then got extended.
Of course.
And then finally, I think it was, I don't remember the exact date, but it was right around between the 10th and the 15th of January that we came back.
Gotcha.
Somewhere right around there.
Awesome. Okay, and then so I know, obviously, being that you, again, we're not combat veterans. We joined, we went diving every day, and then we came home. You know what I mean? It wasn't, we did a couple of field ops and stuff, so we don't have these same experiences that you do. But being out there, you didn't have wife and kids or anything. You were just young, but it was, I don't know what it's like to be out in a situation like that. I know, when we went to the field, it was different because we're not really in danger, but it was I had the most fun. There was the most stressful times, and it was the most, you felt like you were actually, doing something, because again, we served during peacetime completely. So, but I know it's a little different when you're in combat. So,
I always describe it to people that it's the worst, best years of my life.
Okay.
Where obviously some of the worst experiences or feelings I've had in my life, but I think it ultimately molded me into the man that I am today, and helped me grow to where I'm at.
Yep.
By going through those experiences. The biggest thing I would say that I kind of struggled with from my deployment is the fear of the unknown. I think that is what overwhelmed me more so than anything that affected me for after my deployment than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I guess I'm the type that I guess I feel pretty confident if I have to go up against another person, whether it's a physical combat or gun to gun or whatever the case may be or something like that. I feel pretty confident in those circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But in Iraq and Afghanistan at the time, they didn't play by those rules because
right.
they knew not to go up against us one-on-one. They were smart enough not to try to do that.
Yeah.
Their ways of going about things were, you know, setting up bombs for a later when they come through and you get it blown up, or they mortar from afar and then take off before you can even get to them, and their damage is already done because they've already hit bombs.
Yeah.
So that is, and we got mortared a lot where we were at our fob, and so that was more so. I feel the thing that played with my head the most is this next step I'm going to take is a bomb going to drop on me, you know, in any second.
Right.
You know,
Gotcha.
For the most part, we had like alarms that went off when we were expecting incoming, but again, that initially when we were first there, we all ran to the bunkers and like
and then you get.
And then after a while, we have to act like tough men or women, and you know, and try to act like we're not worried about the fact that we might just die in a second.
Yeah.
Could drop right on us.
Yeah.
And so we just like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here.
It's chow time. I'm not giving up my food.
or I mean, or if it happens so often, you do kind of get a little complacent a little bit, but honestly, the feeling is still there.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There might have been some people that legit didn't have any fear about it. I don't know, but
gotcha.
I say in my head, I still had that like, is it gonna drop? Is this gonna be my last second out here on Earth? Because you know, and that I think that's what messes with your head more than anything. Is
Gotcha.
In my opinion, that's what I struggled with probably the most with my deployment.
Absolutely.
I feel like, for the most part, I really enjoyed what I did, but that is psychologically what really kind of messed with me.
Absolutely. Okay. And so you did 6 years. A little over 1 year of that was a deployment. And the rest of it, what was your time like? You know, like again, ours was peacetime. Yours was during war, but you still had your job. You know, when you weren't deployed. I don't know. From what I've heard, it was much better as an actual soldier or Marine or an active duty service member. During times of war, things are, they're run a lot more like they should be in what we've from what I understand, because it was a lot of politics, as we were in, and when we were getting out, it was getting so stupid. So I don't know if it was the same for you, and that's why you got out, or what led to you getting out.
So I was pretty much, I joined the military within, they gave me an extra bonus to leave for basic pretty much immediately. So I joined and left in 11 days later.
Same as me.
So they gave me the extra bonus to leave earlier. So I was like, well, I got nothing else going on, so let's do it.
Yep.
And so that, and then right when I got back, I want to say it was May. I joined in November 2006, got back from basic around, I want to say is May-ish, something like that. April, maybe end of April, somewhere in May. June, one of my buddies from my hometown died in Afghanistan.
Gotcha.
And I got a call like a week after his death from my unit. And actually not the week of, it was the week of, that's what it was. And I kind of just didn't answer the phone because I assumed they were calling me to do like honor guard for him for that funeral or something like that. That was just, I don't know why that was in my head, but so I just ignored the call. Because I wanted to go as a civilian to his funeral, not as just a military person.
Yeah.
You know, but they a couple days later, one of my other buddies in my unit reached out to me. He's like, "So did they call you?" I was like, but I didn't answer it. I didn't want to be a part of it. I figured it was probably because of this.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, you don't know." And I was like, "No, what?" And he's like, "We're deploying." So I got the call literally immediately. And initially that was June. We were supposed to deploy in October. So it was a pretty quick spin up.
Yeah.
I mean, now some of that's training time before we head over.
Right.
Like the legit, like hardcore training. But then we ended up getting extended to January before we left, which that's a whole different story because I didn't get told my leadership were horrible at the time.
Huh.
So
Common trend.
I literally quit my job, said goodbye to almost everybody except for, the very close circle, and everything. And then and then I show up, they're like, and I started packing up all my stuff, and I called one of my sergeants and said, hey, just want to make sure, do I need to bring this, that, or the other? Just trying to understand what I need to bring because obviously I don't know fully. And he's like, why are you packing all that stuff already? I was like, because this is my last, I'm coming in in this weekend for deployment. And he's like, no, that got extended to January. Nobody tell you? I'm like, no.
Nice.
I was already quit so thankfully I was in a good relationship with my job and they let me back in quickly.
So were you a reservist? Is that what this is?
Yes. Yeah.
I was like,
sorry.
I was like,
quit your job. You should have already not had a job.
Yeah. So I was in the reserves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, okay.
Which,
got it.
a thing that people don't realize is I'd say 80% or more people deployed, well, at least during my deployment, were National Guard reservists and things like that.
a lot. And I mean, you could contest to this. A lot of the, how would you say this? The deployed units out to Okinawa were all reserve. Like there were so many reserve units. that went out there.
And I mean, even the ones that because there were a few deployments still going out that way.
Yeah.
From active duty or from in general that were going out that way. Not obviously at the scale that you guys were, but
No.
and all of them were my reservist buddies.
Yep.
Like there was maybe 2 of my active duty friends went, but all of it was reservists.
I remember doing offloads, like just with the record, just moving all the the vehicles off for them. But
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Didn't make any sense.
We were a battalion, and so we had tons of companies underneath us and shifting in and out while we were there. And every single one of them, we didn't have one active duty the whole entire time. It was all
just shocking.
which I was shocked by that myself because, I mean, I didn't join the reserves for that reason or anything like that. But I don't even know why I joined the reserves instead of just active duty, honestly. That didn't even occur to me why to do which or the other. That was just something that I chose. I don't even know why.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I think I know I do know why because my goal was to be a police officer, and so my thoughts were I'll do reserves,
training.
I'll do my 3 years, and then or 2 or 3 years, whatever it was, and then once I turn 21, I'm applying right away for police officer and get that job.
Gotcha.
Because my brother was in the Army, and then he's a police officer. He's still a police officer to this day.
Gotcha.
So he's been in 20 plus years now. So that's kind of his route, how he did it, join the military and then become a police officer. So that was in my head how I was going to do it.
So when you get back from deployment, then you just back out?
Yep.
You have to get another civilian job?
Yep.
Okay. So did you become a police officer while you were still in the reserves?
Yes. Oh, no. So that was when I was in IRR. So then when my 2 years inactive.
Okay. So after you
By the time when I got done for the basic deployment, and then, and honestly, I this is not a big known thing. I don't talk about this much, but I didn't go AWOL, but I also avoided my unit for the longest time when I got back from deployment. And technically, you have 3 months that you don't really have to do anything when you get back from deployment. It's almost like a rest recovery time.
Right. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get re-inoculated with your normal civilian life with your families and stuff.
Yep.
And then you have to go to these yellow ribbon things. I don't know if it's still a thing or what it's called now, if it's even called that anymore. But basically, they send you to Chicago and different places, and you have to basically they're the don't beat your wife, don't do this, don't do that, kind of things. And so you'd have to have 3 months of those. So that take because I was reserves. Took care of my.
Yep.
So I honestly and then I also avoided going to those as much as I possibly could. So it was basically until they made me.
Yeah. Right.
And so I pushed that off another year, basically.
Okay, gotcha.
So between the 3 months and the 3 months, and then me avoiding all the things I could possibly.
Yep.
And I had a good, honestly, before the deployment, we had horrible leadership. On deployment and afterwards, I had great leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew I was struggling with stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't even fully understand that how much I was really struggling with my stuff.
Yeah.
At the time, I knew that I wasn't the same person when I came back, and my friends knew I wasn't. And,
Right, right.
And I mean, because I was the life of the party. Even you, as my friend, don't even really know how I was before. Like
Absolutely.
I'm still different. I'm more of myself than what I was before, but I was the life of the party. Don't make me wrong, I wasn't a partier.
Yeah, yeah.
But like
I
I
gotcha.
was the fun
Center of attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same.
And so when I came back, I literally hid in my basement. Didn't want to come out as much as I possibly could. If I had to go to work, I went to work, but then I came straight home. Didn't go hang out with people. Avoided public spaces because I didn't go anywhere without my gun. I still to this day, I mean, I'm more comfortable and more, but I still try to, even like if I go to a big setting of like church or anything like that, where I know their targets and things like that, I have my gun on me constantly.
Yeah, no, when I went to your house that one time, you have like the back door is completely blocked off, and like, well, someone could come in. I'm like, all right, okay, I'll listen to that. But I mean, someone's probably not coming in. But
I have knives all spread out in my house.
You got
guns spread out in my house.
Yeah.
No matter where I'm at in my house, if I needed something, I can grab something
like
quickly.
That Kevin Hart bit. Where I don't know if you've seen his newest stand up. It's a terrible bit. Honestly, it's one of his least funny jokes. But he's like, he started hiding guns all the way around his house. He's got one in the back of the toilet and stuff in case someone breaks in.
Not that crazy.
Yeah.
They're in legit places. That
Yeah.
I mean, like, so even my house currently set up, the front door is kind of right by the kitchen. So on top of it, a knife on top of the fridge right there, I could just grab really quick if I had to. Different things like that.
Right.
And they're not like your legit knives. They're just like, some of it's just pocket knives. You know, but they're the flip out ones or something. I don't know.
Nail clippers.
I got my keys.
Yeah. Hey, those could do some damage.
Yeah,
if you use them right.
That's true.
There's a story of in World War II. Probably messing this up. It's either World War II or Vietnam. I don't know. Of a Marine killing somebody with a canteen cup.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. So.
Yeah.
Okay, you finish up your service. You decide to become a cop, right? Which nowadays, in my opinion, is more dangerous than joining the service. So.
Yeah.
So you do that. How long did you do that for?
5 years.
And what made you want to leave that?
The world of policing.
Yeah.
That we live in now.
What year did you leave?
Of leave police officer?
Yep.
2018.
Yeah. Okay. So right around that time where, actually it was after because
it kicked off with Ferguson,
which I
want to say 2015.
Yeah.
Maybe 14.
It was one of those.
So I joined 2013. Yep. Is when I got in. And Ferguson was a game changer for the policing.
Oh yeah.
When that happened, that just changed everything because departments started to get political.
Yep.
And not backing their guys. Which, don't get me wrong, some departments take it too far and back their people, even when they shouldn't back their people.
Yeah. When obviously they're doing the wrong thing.
Correct. Yeah. So there's definitely some change. I agree with 100% that did have to happen with a lot of departments because. There's legit bad cops that needed to be handled, and they weren't handling it properly. But for the most part, all these things that you see in I see the videos, and I'm like, he was in the right.
Yeah.
But then there's people.
Doesn't matter the media.
Burning the places down and over it. I was like, the guy clearly was going after the cop, and he was defending himself, or something, to that effect.
I understand. Yep.
But that was what really changed it. But for my personal experience and what happened was, obviously when I became a police officer, I was a single man, not a big deal. But then when I got married, it really changed my perspective because I had death threats against me constantly, and I was one of the leaders in my department for arrest because I wasn't the type of person that just took a shoplifting case and then left it at that, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it was like, I didn't just write it up and here you go. Sorry, I did the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to do my best to find who the suspect was and get him taken care of and make sure they had to go to see their day in court.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of arresting because of that. Now, with that, I obviously got to people knew me, but I'm in a smaller town in Nebraska at the time, not here, bigger city in Ocala, which a lot of people don't consider this a big city, but for where I come from, this is a big city.
It's pretty large for us too.
It's pretty large for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people I talk to, they're like, "Oh, this is small."
My wife's hometown, which is 10 minutes north where we lived, only has like 100 people living there year
Yeah, I
round.
think it was like
it's small.
152.
Okay,
It's
yeah. So that's
small.
bigger than what I came from in Nebraska, but I think we were
Okay.
25,000, something like that. But
No, 152 people.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So he's a lot smaller than.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, even like it's like even just like geographically like a lot smaller. Like
Right.
we like here, I feel like you can drive an hour across
Still be in
Ocala.
Yep,
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Whereas there, takes me 5-10 minutes to go across where my town was.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yep.
It was just all
Yeah.
dense.
Yeah. So and I even feel like it wasn't like overpopulated either. Like I feel like like here.
Here's becoming overpopulated
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure. But where I'm trying to think where I was going with that. Because of me being in a small town and me being a police officer, I obviously people know me. I couldn't even go anywhere in public.
Yep.
And every time I would go anywhere, somebody recognized me. And so once I became married, it was a big difference because, if I get the death stares and
You don't
dirty
care.
looks or even a comment, if it happened,
Yep.
not a big deal. But it made it more difficult for my wife at the time that had to deal with that. And so one in particular instance, her life actually got threatened. And I had arrested a guy on a DUI 1 week before, and there was no issues other than him running his mouth or like the normal.
Yeah.
But I arrested him, but he wasn't happy about it. See him 1 week later. He was working at his job in the mall, and we were in the mall. And I've always told my wife, hey, if you ever see me like just separate from you, it's probably because I'm seeing somebody I don't want you to be seen with me. But
Yeah.
apparently he had already saw me when I separated from her. A week later after that, I get a call if somebody's trying to break into a house. So I'm the closest in the area, so I'm on my way. And they call over the radio, say, hey, that car's leaving. This is the description of the vehicle. As I'm coming across that vehicle, flip around on them, catch up to them, and right when I catch up to them, they're just quickly put in parking, and all of them are bailing out of the car. I chase after the one that I was right there, and it's the guy that I just arrested on the DUI who saw me and my wife. Ended up tackling him. Well, he wrong place, wrong time, shouldn't have ran, and it was on concrete, and he got busted up face from me tackling him on the ground. Not very happy about that.
Yep.
And basically, as I'm taking him back to the jail, he's like, I saw you and your girlfriend at the time. He thought it was my girlfriend, but it's my wife. He said, just see what happens to her next time I see her. And that,
Yeah.
Listen, I'm me, I'm pretty calm demeanor. I don't let things rattle me pretty easily. But when you talk about my family, it's you get a different side of me. And I had to really hold myself. I didn't internally though. So I called my sergeant and said, you got to meet me at the jail. And he met me at the jail. And I said, you got to take this guy, because if he says one more comment, I don't want to do something stupid.
Exactly.
And he's like, say no more, got it. And so I just went back on the street.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was one instance. And then the second instance was I had somebody show up at my house at 4:00 in the morning.
Oh no.
Yelling and screaming F the police outside of my house. And actually had a portable speaker playing the song F the police. So after that, like I said, it was getting to the point where we couldn't go to public anymore.
Yeah.
Everywhere I went, we couldn't go out to eat because every restaurant, their workers and the cooks or whatever are criminals. That's what a lot of people don't realize in the
Food industry.
And there's not even it's not like the worst criminals. They're just small and like stupid smaller stuff sometimes.
Yes.
But
It's the petty stuff.
yeah, it's not like they're trying to murder people or anything.
Right,
like
no,
that.
right.
Hey, you stole $600 from Walmart. It's
yeah.
that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they all recognized me, and so it got to the point where I couldn't even go out to eat, do anything like that. And so we just decided that that was no more, and just wasn't get to the point where it was a good family life anymore. And so the next thing, if I wanted to do that, was in my life was be a business owner. I just never thought it was going to be that early in my life.
Yeah. So that was, that's a great transition into the next, which was, at what point did you start feeling like, I want to start a business? Because it happens randomly. You know what I mean? In high school, I never thought, I thought I would be doing what I'm doing now, but I wasn't like, oh, I want to own my own business. That wasn't it.
Yeah.
So what sparked that interest for you that made you start your first business?
Well, going from being in a job / military where it's very structured, basically. I mean, military, I guess you do are able to kind of do your own thing for the most part, and even in some jobs, but there's still some people over you and things like that. Whereas I got the experience with being a police officer. It was, I had my sergeants and my captains and chief technically over me, but for the most part, I did my thing, and as long as I did everything right, I never heard from them. I mean, not that I didn't hear from them; they were there every day.
Right. But I know what you mean.
They left you alone.
Yeah, they didn't micromanage me. If that makes sense. And I liked the freedom of that. And I think that was part of the I can't go back to a job where I'm going to be told what to do every day.
Yeah.
And plus I always had the feeling in my mind that I wanted to be a business owner at some point in my life. I just always thought it was going to be way down the road.
Yeah.
I always thought in my head, it's like, there's no way a 30-year-old or 20-year-old or whatever can do this. Like, you got to be 40s, 50s, 60s, to be a business owner. Because that's, in my head, I don't know, that's just what I always thought. Like, it was always the older people that had to be a business owner.
You're right, yeah. Growing up, it was always the oldest people in town.
Yep.
No, actually thinking about it, until we left our hometown, I don't think there was a single business owner under, 40.
Yeah, 45, 50.
Yeah.
That was pretty much how my town in Nebraska was.
Yeah,
There wasn't really the young entrepreneurs out there.
I never even thought about that. So, okay. Now, what made you get into the industry that you're in? Where did you go, oh, this seems like a great idea? Because obviously it is. It's worked out.
Yeah.
But not something that normally somebody looking into starting a business wouldn't go, this is a growing industry.
So how that happened, actually, initially what I was going to start up was my thought was, I saw in my community all the younger people getting into trouble with the law and things like that, because in our small town Nebraska we had bars and that was pretty much it.
Yep.
There's nothing else for kids to do really, unless they get into your little rec soccer leagues and things like that, but really that's very seasonal.
Yep.
Especially in Nebraska, with 6 months of the year is cold.
Yep.
So my thought was what could I bring here that could give the kids something to do and not do stupid things.
Yep. Okay.
And so I thought about a trampoline park, which now it's like everybody knows trampoline parks, but back then it was kind of still an up and coming thing. There was only in your big cities had them and things like that. And so I was looking at doing a trampoline park with a rock climbing gym.
Okay.
And then my idea was there's also going to be a 24-hour gym for the parents to go to. I'd get the vibrating bracelets. They could let their kids go over here and do whatever, and then they would have like some identification that would attach them to the parent over there working out.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything happened to them, they get a buzz, come over there and deal. It's almost like even like a daycare type style thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is my idea and how I wanted to do it. And I actually met with the city, got it approved. I found the property, got a builder, everything for the building, got everything pretty much all locked in. And actually the city was going to help me give a portion to it because they wanted something in the community for kids too.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I met with my wife's boss at the time, which was a promotional product and apparel company. And she started her company from the startup, which is what I was going to be doing. And so I just wanted to get some advice from her, how she started her company, and just, so I try to learn as much knowledge as I could so I didn't make similar mistakes of anything. And 2 weeks later, after I met with her and asked her for advice, she wanted to meet up with us for dinner, and they offered us the business.
Wow.
And they kind of said it was like, well, we weren't really originally planning on it being this early. We were planning on it being later, but they had actually envisioned giving it to Kayla, and wanting her to have it at the time, and so that's kind of what happened with that. But then I had a decision: do I want to start up or do I want to go with existing business? And after kind of weighing my options and all that and debt that was gonna, I mean, it's still debt that I had to take on an existing business, but there was cash flow to
already,
and so that was the no-brainer for me, and I did extremely well. So that was a promotional product and apparel company. That was all that company did, and I did really well. Within taking over the first year, I'd grown the business 51.3%.
Okay.
She had consistently done the same numbers over 4 or 5 years,
Yep.
and didn't really try to grow it. And she fully admitted that she was happy with she was growing it, but just in the community. Well, I went to the biggest city next to us and then started hitting up the businesses in that area and then tried to grow it from there. And then, so that's how I kind of grew the company. And then my next plan was, now I was going to take the company nationwide online and grow it that way. Well, I hired a recruiter to hire sales reps for me, 1099 sales reps, so they'd be commission only based.
Yep.
And then COVID hit. And literally, I just started this process February of 2020.
March.
And
March, everything shuts down.
March, everything shuts down. And mind this, at the time, this is a way smaller operation than what I have here in Ocala. So we were doing the 2019. I did a little over 600,000, and one person that I had talked with right before COVID really got launched, she had a $2 million book of business. So I was gonna dramatically be a whole different level, bringing this person on, and then in the middle of our interviews and stuff and questioning, and COVID hit, and then she got scared of having a guaranteed salary to then go into commissions, because she had a non-compete, or she didn't have a non-compete with the current person she was with, and she was just salary plus a small commission. So switching over to me with her $2 million book of business, she would have made, I think she was making a little over $100,000 a year. She was going to end up making, I think it was $300,000-400,000 with the way my commission structure was going to be that I was going to give her, because is an aggressive, a lot more aggressive commission structure the way I set it up. So she was fully on board and wanted to do it, but then COVID hit, and now she's like, well, I can't leave it guaranteed because now I don't know what's going to happen. And events were getting shut down, which promotional apparel is event-based. And so that's when I had to shift my gears, and I pretty much, during that period of time, barely made it by the seat of my pants. And thankfully, I was very smart financially, and I had always money tucked away as much as I possibly could. So I was one of the few people that I didn't have to pay myself or anything like that, which I wasn't in the beginning anyways.
Right.
Actually, we just got to the point, because I had grown the company so much
that you were able to
that I was able to start paying myself, and I just started paying myself for 2 months.
It's like,
and then it's like, well, there goes that. And then, so I stopped paying myself and stopped paying my wife because she was a partner in the company at the time. And then we only had one employee, because that's thankfully the business we had. We weren't doing production in house, we had started outsourcing a lot of our stuff.
Gotcha.
So I was only paying our one employee that we had to, plus we got the PPP loan. And then
okay.
And that helped us stay afloat. If I didn't get that, I would have went bankrupt. And I got down to the point where we had a couple hundred left in the business bank account. And then I was just able to just really grind it out and slowly get it back up to where I was able to. But in the process, I realized I couldn't just rely on a promotional apparel, because
when stuff shuts down.
Because when stuff shuts down, nobody's going to buy clothing for their company because they're not in front of people, first of all, so it doesn't matter. And plus, they're not handing out screen printed T-shirts to their customers or whatever. Then also promotional, they're not doing any of that. But what I did see when I was kind of looking at things printing, people were still doing that because they could still reach them at their homes. They were sending out mailers and things like that, and still reaching out in some sort of fashion in the way they were kind of going about things. So I tried in my community to see if any of the printing companies were wanting to sell. None of them wanted to, and they already had a foothold for the printing company in our smaller town. So there's not much I could really do if I started up with what we were
try
doing,
and take them
trying
out.
to take that on, and plus that's a slow growth.
Yeah.
Bringing on something like that brand new. So at that time we were still in the middle of COVID. It wasn't like fully recovered or anything like that. So I couldn't afford to buy the machinery to start doing that. So I was like, I got to buy an existing business and I got to go outside of this. And I've always thought about Arizona, Texas, or Florida, eventually retiring to at some point in my life.
Yep.
So I started looking at businesses in those areas. I found like 50 for sale that I was looking for. And I started kind of narrowing them down and found this one here in Ocala that had no ownership on site. The previous owner passed away in 2010, so 10 years prior.
Wow.
And he had left it to his two brothers that lived in Michigan and Pennsylvania, and they just had a general manager running the company.
Oh, okay.
So they were just collecting a check, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They probably had there was some advisory.
Yeah, but not much. They're not as
hands-on.
invested.
No, and I'm a hands-on owner. Like I'm pretty involved with. I mean, I don't know. I'm thankful I have an amazing team that I don't have to know everything happening every day. But for a lot of the big clients, I know everything going on with that for the most part from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty understanding of what's going on with them, and I'm pretty even involved, like making sure we're scheduling things out on the big orders and make sure it's getting to them timely and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I knew I could do that. I immediately come here, joined the chamber, became an ambassador for the chamber. I joined Boys and Girls Club, got on the board for Boys and Girls Club. So basically, really getting involved in the community so I could really show like I'm here and I'm serious and I'm wanting to make those connections and stuff. So that's where, and then I brought my promotional apparel background, which they did have it, but it wasn't like they pushed it and had the high knowledge of it, because they come mostly from the print background. And so I brought that to the table, and then we started really pushing that to grow that side of it with our company. And so again, I now year over year have grown that 10%, roughly right around there, roughly.
Just the
year.
promotional side, or
No, the whole company.
Okay.
Yeah, so between print and promotional.
Yep.
And then this year I'm going a whole new level and really trying to grow things to like a whole different level. And we were talking about it a little bit before this. I'm actually now starting a company brand new. It is, but it's not. It's like a division of what we already do, but now I'm going to be, I started a whole new entity, Patriot Line, which is my wholesale side of what we offer now. So I work with printing company, other printers and promotional companies that they don't have the machines to do it in-house or anything like that, which is a lot of people that do that, which most people don't realize they outsource a lot of their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I can be a wholesaler for these people and do the stuff for them.
That's right, because you bought some pretty serious equipment.
Yes.
Set up over there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of the struggle I'm in right now, because I got those loans back when the loans were normal. And the only way I could get them, when I bought the building, I got an expansion loan to get the equipment on top of that real estate loan. But it was a variable loan through the SBA. And
Gotcha.
It was great at the time.
Yep, great at the time.
And then, I always thought in my head, okay, worst case, it jumps up a point or two. I didn't expect 5-6 points. So between my business loan and now my real estate / equipment expansion loan, the struggles I'm facing now as a business owner is I'm paying an additional $6,500 a month.
Just in those percentages.
Just the extra interest of the hike that we've had in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's the struggle I'm facing right now.
About having some overhead.
Yes.
On top of the initial loan payments that you already had.
Correct.
You're saying that's an additional $6,500.
Correct.
That is sharp.
So that's the struggle I'm facing right now, and I'm trying my best right now I've been getting told no by every bank, because now with getting the extra equipment on the top of my loan, now I'm not loan to value for the real estate, and so they're basically not I was like, well, this bank gave it to me initially. It was like, why could they give it to me and you can't give it to me?
Mhm.
Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Banks are. I mean, if you're out there and you want to give me a loan, I love you, but
Yeah.
you know, but the struggle with banks in general is even before when I first got my business loan, it was no, 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 and I finally found the yes, and that's what I'm facing right now. So I'm in the process. I got 3 that I'm still in the works, and I think they might be able to figure something out for me. But is it gonna fully get me back to where I'm not paying any extra money, or is there still gonna be some extra money? We'll see.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
So, I'm curious to know what the process of buying a business looks like, right? Because I've never done that. And so, like getting a loan for a business, is it just like getting a loan for a house or real estate in general? You just go to banks and ask, or is there a specific process you got to go through?
it's different than just buying a home. But I imagine you've probably, in your business, you have to get your lines of credits and things like that.
Yeah.
Which even that you probably don't have to go to the extents of for all the paperwork that goes behind it for a line of credit and stuff. And
No, for like material suppliers and stuff. I feel
because they're expecting you to get that paid back right away, so they don't really probably
30
need.
days. Yeah.
So for me, especially for my business loan, because that's just basically blue sky. I mean, that's how they look at it. That's what their phrase is, because there's really no like tangible things that if God forbid if I go under, that they can just recoup their money.
Right.
So for that, there's a lot of things that they have to like really make sure that you are trustworthy enough that they give this loan to that they're going to get their money back. So
Yep.
it's a process, especially through the SBA, because that's what I had to get was SBA loans. No banks would give me the money without 20% down, first of all. Plus, they just wanted the backing of the SBA because the SBA guarantees a portion of your loan.
Yeah.
So that was basically what I had to go with, and the SBA. Like I'm telling you, the list was like on a spreadsheet of everything they wanted, and I've got it down pat now.
Yeah.
That it's like honestly, I just got the stuff saved and ready to give to them because in the process, even with this refinance, like it's really easy now as I'm going to these different banks after I get told no and I find another one. It's just like, oh, I already got this. So here's my file of things I'm supposed to send to every bank, and so they ask for it. I'm like, all right, check.
Yep.
And it's super easy now.
Right.
Initially, yeah, it's a bear, and that's part of I feel like the military's kind of prepared me for business ownership because it's like they did make you do a lot of just dumb stuff anyways and ask for view but it's very like structured. And so I'm the type of mindset that I'm task oriented, that I try to go, okay, I'm not going to look at this whole long list. I'm just going to one at a time, just tackle everything one at a time. And so I feel like initially it was a little overwhelming, but now I've got my mindset. I got to change my mindset to military style, just knock it out, each thing I've got to take care of. And then it was a lot easier.
So how long does that process take? Like you find the business, you decide I want this one, and then you start looking for loans. And then how long before you were able to close on the business and move here?
So basically I ended up contacting them, and then you had to come down here. I flew down here. I kind of saw the process and met with the owner. He actually flew down from where he's at, met with me here and the general manager, and then came back, talked about it, and then we decided we're going to move forward. So then basically, then it's a LOI, like a letter of intent.
Just like commercial real estate.
Basically, where, hey, I'm intending on doing this, which basically locks me in so they don't try to go find somebody else.
Yeah.
And then that's when, in that process, is me trying to find the loan, trying to find, then giving them all the information. They're giving me as much information as I can get because the banks also need that information.
Right.
So it's also like a non-compete. What's the non-disclosure? Not
an NDA.
Yeah, NDA. Thank you. And that I have to sign because they're giving me information about their business.
So you
You're
can't
seeing
share
their
it with
P&L. You're seeing everything.
Tax returns,
Exactly.
all that stuff. Because I want to see that first of all, but the bank also wants to see that. So getting all that information. So it's a process. I would say when I started, I want to say it was probably September-ish when I started the process, and by the time we got everything finalized, it was December 15th when we closed.
Oh, that's not that bad. Okay.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was every single day.
Oh, no.
almost working on something.
I understand.
You know, it wasn't like, oh, I'll do that, and now I'm gonna just focus on this for a while, and
That's the difference that the military, I think, set
Yeah,
us up
it's-
for.
yeah.
As soon as you do something, okay, well, tomorrow, what time did you want me to call to give you a follow-up?
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
I need to know, when do I get that email of confirmation that this was done?
yes, and
Yeah.
that I'm sure my banker loved me. and,
Yeah,
you know,
I
at the same
made
time.
protocols up. So when your employees actually get that task done, you guys send an internal email. Do I get tagged on that?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, we don't do that, sir. Well, can you do that for me? Because I need to know that this is done.
yes.
I'm not sitting around waiting.
I still do that to this day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need confirmation. Like, even like just as simple if I send a PO off to somebody that's gonna do something for me, I just want confirmation you received that email so that I can make sure you got it. Like,
Yeah.
Just
I'm
send it
not
back,
just a
good to go. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Got the email, working on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Just, I need something to know that you got that.
yeah, I don't want to just send an email and hope you received it or saw it, and you're, like,
Like, oh, he
Got it.
opened it. No, did he
Yeah.
read it?
yes,
Is he acting on it?
Yeah.
That's what I need to know.
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of my style and everything, and that's how I'd handle it. And there was a lot of negotiations, and obviously in the middle of COVID, I had a lot more negotiating power. They didn't like that. So actually, there was two brothers, like I said, because the previous owner passed away, and one was a douchebag, and the other was pretty,
Ready to be done with the business anyway.
yeah. They both were ready to be done, but the one was all about the money, and like that's all he was focused about. And I pretty much he accused me. Oh, because I know what it was. The bank gave a value of what they were going to give a loan for, which I can only receive a loan for what they're going to give me a value for of the business.
Yeah.
So I gave them that, and that the one owner he's like, "You're trying to screw us over," and dude's like, "Listen, this is
from
the
the bank."
bank."
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have anything to do with this.
The
And
bank evaluated you guys at this.
Yes.
Not me.
yeah, exactly. So in that process, he freaked out on me, and I pretty much told the brothers like, either you or me deal with this, and I never talk to that guy again, or this deal's done. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not talking with him anymore because
Yep.
he's not a clear-headed person to deal with.
Yeah.
So, and I never talked to that guy again. Even in the sale, I never saw him, never met him or anything like
And lo
that.
and behold, you have the company.
Yeah, yeah. So,
You had the power.
yeah. So, that's kind of how that process worked. It was a lot of work, and I know it only ended up taking roughly about 3 months, but it was a lot of work within that 3 months.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's
A lot of convincing. They have to I had to do a lot of convincing because one, I feel like it was my age.
Oh yeah, that's
I was
probably.
I think I was 30, 31. I don't even remember how old. No. 33.
Yep.
Because when I first took over the business in Nebraska, I was 30. And then 33 was when I did this, but also in the middle of COVID. Because then that's also a big concern of the bank is they don't even know what's going to happen with everything. Because that was still in December. We were still a lot of unknowns of what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And are we going to get shut down again? There was a lot of talks of getting shut down again.
Yep. Still is.
And yeah,
They're still trying.
But I mean, at least you picked the right state.
yes, that was a factor. Honestly.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That was also well. First of all, Arizona, Texas, and Florida. There's reasons why I chose those, anyways, because of those reasons.
Yeah.
Also, it's just good places to live, vacation wise, and everything.
Right.
But
The climate is good all year round. Yeah.
yeah, so that's there was many factors, but that was a big factor. Was also just the time of year and who was the government.
Yeah,
and how I was handling things.
Yeah.
But no, it's still scary ultimately because you didn't know, and there was a struggle for that first year because then I had supply chain issues I had to deal with in my first year. Like I never even something I didn't even know is
Trucks are
I'm not going to be able to get paper.
Yeah,
Like
what?
I can't even get paper to do my printing. Like what?
Yeah.
Like it was
right.
it was a struggle. And then on the promotional side, I couldn't even my suppliers couldn't even get the promotional items that I was getting orders for. So then I was like, sorry, they don't have this. Are you okay with this? No. So then I'd lose an order
Yep.
because I couldn't even get the supplies that I needed for them for different promotional items. Thankfully, on the printing side, I was everybody's pretty understanding as a customer base. if I couldn't get this stock, they were okay with this stock.
Yeah.
Like they weren't as picky.
Yeah.
You know, so which a lot of people are picky about their stock, which rightfully so. Some of it, if it's not thinner, thicker, or glossy, or you know, some people are not happy.
A brochure is a brochure. Okay,
Yes.
a 3-fold brochure. You can't mess that up. It needs to
Yes.
be glossy.
Yeah. But during that time, thankfully, everybody was pretty understanding because everybody else was dealing with supply chain issues.
That's what I was about to say.
So-
you know, they're dealing with it. Whatever they're selling, they're probably delayed. You know, so getting the promotional content for that was probably
Yes.
like, okay, well, we get it, we need it. So whatever change you got to make, get it out here.
Yep.
Because they're doing the same thing. I know I was doing the same thing. You know, I was redrawing every house that we were building to pull stock windows off the shelves because we couldn't order custom windows. They were 8-9 months out.
Yeah.
You can't stop a house for that long.
No.
So
Yeah.
we'd get the framing done, and then we'd have to submit a change to the county. You know, I had to redraw plans and change all the window sizes.
That was when we first started, like, it was right around the time we met and became friends because you were talking about, like, well, this house is, like, halfway done. I had to go start another house because I can't even finish this house. So, like, because I got to wait for this to come in. And
That's it. That's why, like, you know, I shifted towards a lot of wood construction, right? Because you can change the openings on a wood house real simple. Whereas the block homes, you know, your block is what you got. I mean, you can change it, but it's not easy.
Not easy.
And it's a lot, you know, it's a lot of man hours. It's a lot of material. It's crazy. So to try and change that for windows wasn't worth it. So I had one house sit for almost 12 full months after it was blocked up, ready for windows, and then we put plywood on it, and it sat there. I was like, this is embarrassing.
And I feel like even at that time, banks were not helping very much with. I mean, maybe you found some for your industry, but okay, yeah. So it's the same thing. Like they were not understanding because what I was having to do because if I found like a shipment, they just came in like say for 12 skids of this paper, I was like, I'll take it.
Yep.
Like whatever I get my hands on,
Hold
I'll
it.
take it. So, but then because of that, I don't normally order 12 skids of paper at a time, you know. So I had to fork out a bunch of money up front, and I was asking banks, like, "Hey, can you give me a little line of credit?" I'm like, "Sorry, I'm not giving it right now." So then I had to like then just nail bite the whole way, like you know, like
You start being on the side of the road, say, hey, you want some paper?
yeah. So
He's out there selling it to the homeless people.
Yeah.
there for a while because we're pretty much I try to run as lean as I possibly can because now,
yeah.
especially now, we're back to normal, and I can just like, oh, I got an order in for a big run of booklets. Okay, well, let's just order that and get it in tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You know, so like, not a big deal. I can run pretty lean on my inventory. Then I had to take what I could get, and if as soon as I get an opportunity to get a chunk of paper, I ordered it.
Yeah, I know. I remember you let me walk through the old, like, because you have a bunch of old print presses back there and stuff. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
But you were like, yeah, this is where our paper would normally be, and it's just a bunch of empty shelves and like one pallet of like random paper that nobody uses because nobody uses it. So you still have that.
Well, that was also the stuff we had to order. So we were just taking what we could get. So we still to this day, almost probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, since we've had the supply chain issues, I still have some of that paper left over because nobody wants it.
Yeah.
So, but I took what I could get at the time and was using it. But yeah, so
Yep.
it is what it is.
Yeah, well, that's part of being an entrepreneur. You know, we have our ups and downs, and you adapt and overcome. So,
And then that's part of the military again that helped me.
Well, I think that's something that veteran-owned businesses have a leg up on the rest of them because we were trained in it, but also like you didn't have an option but to learn how to do it. You know what I mean? Because it was always something changed, something happened, and it wouldn't be in the job either. It would just be, oh, cool, your dorm room's flooded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Figure it out. So,
Yep.
because they weren't coming to help. So, you know, it was things like that made it easier, and I think give us a leg up on the competition.
Yeah.
So, last thing, we're about an hour right now, so we'll just wrap this up real quick. If you want to talk a little bit about, you know, veterans and helping veterans, because I know you're doing a lot of things there. We won't go into depth on the stuff that you're working on because we don't want to, you know, spoil some things.
Yeah.
But we can say that, you know, you do go out of your way to help veteran-owned businesses locally, and there is currently a veteran system set up, right? What's it called?
VetNet.
VetNet. Are you a member of that?
Yeah, so I was a member of, and was utilizing the services of it, and Julian is the head of that, and we are now, I don't know, it's a nonprofit, so partnering is not the proper. I'm now becoming a director.
Okay.
So I'm now kind of joining, me and another vet, Jason White, are teaming up with Julian because Julian just didn't have the bandwidth. He's a business owner himself, so he's trying to do it himself.
Right. Yeah.
And he does everything he can to help vets as much as he possibly can. But it's, you can only do so much as one person when you're trying to do something bigger. So now me and Jason coming in as well, the three of us together are, we're all business owners, but we can together tackle the things a lot easier and split it up.
Right. Instead of have all of it on one person's plate.
Exactly. So we are now kind of taking that on and really expanding upon what Julian and Chad, who was those two were the originators. I think they were the only two, the founders of it. But basically what it started as is really just helping veterans grow their businesses, getting the right connections and how to do that, whether it's through the connections that they already have, but also just helping them in life too, like, whatever it is,
Absolutely. That's super important.
yeah, education, whatever it is, that's the different type of things that there's education, there's just your personal stuff, whether it's, hey, I have all these issues I'm trying to deal with on my disability claims, but I can't, I need help with that. Like, and some advice there, how to handle it, who to talk to. And then just in general, just your educational stuff. Some people with mental health issues, hey, here's who you need to go talk to, how you handle it. And,
right. And, there are these resources out there for people already, but I think all of us can agree that they're not managed the way that we would manage them, you know what I mean, and not efficiently to really help veterans. If you're a veteran and you've ever utilized them, you use it once and you go, all right, cool.
Yeah. It was set up just so they could check a box.
Exactly.
I think so. That's what it feels like.
So like, even like for my disability claims I'm dealing with because of the different things I've, dealt with and stuff in my deployment and ailments I have now in my body, and
you're almost 70, so
my knees and my back feel like it sometimes,
Right.
But no, the VSOs that are with the VA, don't get me wrong, I'm sure some of them are great, but the ones I've had experience with, bare minimum.
Right.
And so just finding the right people that actually, a lawyer that actually is a vet himself, that can then fight for you, are the people that we're trying to connect people to. And yes, the lawyer technically takes a small percentage of that on the back pay when you actually do get your claim back.
Yeah.
But it's more than what you would have got if you did it yourself through a VSO.
Exactly.
And not only that, they fight for you to get it faster. And then you're just getting your monthly payments faster. So in the long run, it's worth doing it. And that's what I did. The biggest thing with this whole VetNet thing, though, that for my side of it is, I kind of explained a little bit of my struggles when I came back and things I've been through, and I struggled with PTSD a lot when I came back.
Right.
Honestly, that was a combination of, I would even say, combination of my military and police stuff that I went through.
Yep.
You're kind of taught in the military to be a tough guy and not show your weaknesses,
right,
and things like that. So the longest time I just didn't say anything. And also when I got back, when they evaluate you or ask you the questions, because you have to talk to mental health counselors and things like that, and are you all the questions they ask you to make sure you're safe when you come back and that you're good to go back into society.
Yeah.
My leadership told me, is like, just answer, you're fine on everything.
Yeah.
And looking back, I probably should have said no on a lot of things. This is hurting. This is hurting. I'm struggling with this in my head, whatever.
Right.
Because that would have actually helped me with my claims.
Isn't that funny?
But because that's part of the battles. Because when I was in, I never went and told these issues I had. I just dealt with them. But anyways, fast forward, I finally went. I had is actually Julian was a big part of that, VetNet. He helped me kind of realize like it's okay to admit like you're struggling with this.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like struggle as a man. Like it's okay to be have the feelings you have and have weak moments in your head. Like,
right.
but you need to address it. You know,
Exactly.
So I eventually went to counseling. Thing I never thought I was going to do. Didn't want to do it. I always thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
And you know, some aspects of it is a joke. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it is.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, some of it's like, you know, but ultimately, what it got me doing was starting just to talk about things.
Yeah.
And because I was just holding it all
Right,
internally,
right.
never expressing it outwardly. And I feel like since then, the counselor told me like, start telling people and the people around you that care about you and things like that. And now that I've done that, they also understand me more when they can tell like why I do certain things. Like when I've had a long day at work and I'm like,
Don't worry.
going going from task to task to task,
Yeah.
working like non-stop, and then coming home, I need that mental decompression time.
Yeah.
And I think everybody does, but think also because of what I've mentally have gone through, like I need it more so than most people.
Right.
So like a lot of times I just watch TV. It's not because I really am I'm a TV junkie. It's my like, I shut my brain off, like, and I could just zone out.
Yeah.
Get into that particular thing. Or if I go to sporting events, I'm a sports guy. So like I can zone out on the sports,
Right.
and not think about anything going on, whether it's business, things I've been through in my life, relationship issues, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like I shut my mind off. And ever since I've kind of like gotten to that point where I've expressed my thoughts outwardly to, especially my wife, like she understands me, I feel like a lot more now. And I can express that even in my employees. I've opened up with them about my struggles. And sometimes when I get overwhelmed, I need a break from work, and I will just go run an errand to get out of there. So like mentally, I can reset myself.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty understanding now. Like now that they know.
Yeah. Why? Like, what the hell? You just.
Yeah. No. I don't just storm off. I'm not that kind.
No, I know.
No, but trust me, I'm not like that at all. But they wouldn't even know that I'm struggling and I walk
exactly.
off. It's because, but now they know if I'm leaving, they don't even question it, where I'm going or anything like that, because, they don't always assume that's what it is, but
yeah.
Because I do have legit errands I have to run. But,
Right.
But, that's the biggest thing that I've learned though, is just opening up about my struggles with other vets, and it just puts a weight off of their shoulders. I feel like sometimes,
and
they can just let loose and talk. And I've talked with so many of my vet buddies, because that's a big part of my story is 2020, and one of my buddies I deployed with committed suicide. And this was 11 years later.
Yeah.
After we got back. 2009 was when I got back. We thought we were past that point of everybody being okay. And he committed suicide, and that changed the ball game. That was also my light bulb of like,
I should probably do something.
Because when I talked with his wife, she's like, I was the only one who knew he struggled.
Yeah.
He didn't want anybody else to know he struggled, because he was the jokester. He was the funny guy. Like he didn't want anybody to know he was struggling.
Right. And
that was the realization. Like my wife is the only one that knows I struggle, and she didn't even know to the extent of what I struggled.
Exactly.
Yep. So that was like a big opening up. So for me, that's a big part of it. But obviously, in the process with VetNet is we want to just help them in everything, whether it's educational, it's mental health, it's claims, and whatever it is, but also with their business, we want to help connect them to the right people.
Right.
And connections. That's the biggest part of what VetNet is really, is it's connecting people. And whether that's business related or whatever it is, we want to make sure who you need to talk to, we'll find a way to get you connected to them, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If we have it all possible way of doing that. And especially with businesses, that's how you help grow businesses. You make the connections and
networking's everything.
Yeah. And the big thing is, what we're trying to really push is veterans want to help veterans out. Like, there's nobody else in the world that understands a vet than a vet.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
like you and I, like even when we first met, well, I was walking my dog
Yeah.
by your house, and once I found it, like it just happened. We just, hey, how's it going? But then once we realized we were both vets, then it was like immediate, like,
Yep.
boom, brother. Like,
On it. Yep.
yeah, you're my brother. Like, I don't even like have to even know you as a person. Like,
Exactly.
and that's just how vets are. The general public don't have that. Like,
Absolutely.
and so we have to take care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because, not saying people have forgotten about us, because there's a lot of people that do support veterans, but in the business side of things, unfortunately, a lot of times as veterans, we aren't the big corporation that can
small
give,
companies
that can give you the cheapest necessarily price you can possibly get, but we need still that support,
right.
And veterans need to help each other out in that case. So that's what we're trying to do is, first of all, connect the veterans with veterans. Let's use each other and anything we can possibly use. And then two, how do we get people to come to us and use all these veterans that we have in our community?
Yeah.
That's our goal of what we're trying to get to go now.
That's great.
So
I'm looking forward to helping and being a part of this with you guys. I know you've got your first event. When's your event?
It's April 4th.
April 4th. Where is it?
Silver Springs Pizza, which is a veteran-owned local pizza joint here in Ocala.
What time?
You should have. I'm pretty sure it's 5:00.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna put you on the spot. No.
I gotta look really quick. You
Okay.
keep talking.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely we'll have you back on here because we didn't get to, talk about half the stuff. Like we really wanted to. Next time we'll dive into, kind of the operations of your business because we like to talk about that kind of stuff. And then also, like, we didn't get to talk, you invest in real estate, some of the stuff you got going on there. And just, there's a lot of stuff that we didn't get to cover. So
Gotcha.
Next time, what time is it?
It's 5 to 7, April 4th, Silver Springs Pizza.
Okay. So, we're probably, if I can, I'm going to edit this and post it tomorrow.
Gotcha.
So that, like, we're going to start doing 2 podcasts a week that we post. We'll try and do 1 guest a week and post those on Thursday. So if I get time today, we'll post this up tomorrow and I'll let you know. So hopefully we can share this out to get a couple people out there.
Sounds good.
I know I'll be there if you got time. I know your schedule's usually pretty.
I might be in California again.
So,
Gotcha.
but either way, I'll be there. And I got a couple other vets that I've mentioned it to, so
Sweet.
they'll be out there too. So, thanks for coming out this morning. I know, you're not quite the morning people that we are, but you got up a little early. I know this week's early for you, so it wasn't that bad. But
Yeah,
we appreciate it. Any last questions or comments you want to make?
Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, sounds good. We'll close it out there, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks.